Could we be second time lucky? Hello? What a nightmare. Right. Let me know how the audio is and then I'll crack on. Sorry about that earlier. I don't know what was going on with George, but he was just playing up. I think he was just wanting lots of energy. So I took him out. I took him for a walk and he had a poop. So maybe he wanted a poop. I don't know. But anyway, we're back. So, gosh, it's so warm today, isn't it? How are we all doing? Let me know before we continue with this. Just let me know how the audio sounds. And I'll just get into the stream. Okay, let me just grab my phone. Because I like to have one on my phone and one on my laptop. Right, okay. We've got 27 watching. Hit the like, guys, please. It does really, really help. Or the dislike. I won't be offended. Right, I'm going to go straight into it. So welcome back, everyone. Are we a little bit loud on this volume? You look a bit loud. Is it just me? Just let me know. Is the audio okay? Sound all good, says Linda. Audio good, fab. Okay, thank you. We're not too loud. Okay, hi, Mark. I've seen you for ages. Well, I've seen you the other day, but not in here. Right then. Okay, Catherine. Yeah, I've seen your email, but I couldn't reply because my phone died. I was on 2%. I've just put it on charge. Right, okay. Well, Brum Vixen, George was helping you out then. How's that? There you go. Well done, George. Okay. So, we were looking at this pact of silence, okay? Hi, spirits. Hi, Tamsin. How you doing? Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in, guys. I really appreciate you. Right, let's just share this page back up again where we were. So this was an article called Pact of Silence, and it was written by a Portuguese, two Portuguese journalists. And like I said in several of these podcasts, that the Portuguese police were feeding information to the press. Now, at this time, this was when the British media were reporting what the Polish media was saying. And the British media were not yet censored. Okay? They were wide open with theories. It's only since the McCanns sued the Daily Express, they sued the Portuguese newspaper and threatened libel action against anyone, well, any news outlets, journalists who are speaking against their narrative. Now, Sonia Poulton has done a lot of work on this, and also Richard D. Hall. Have you noticed how they won't touch them? Do you know why? Because they're independent. When they go for these newspapers, they all close ranks and they all just agree to go with a narrative. But independents like Sonia Poulton and Richard D. Hall, they won't stand for it. So they have to destroy their careers. They have to stop them from getting any work. And I'll never, ever understand why that Clarence Mitchell was involved and that Michael Kaplan were involved from day dot. And I was just saying earlier before George interrupted us by eating a hairbrush, which you could have choked on the little pricky bits. That's why I had to cut off, because George could have been, because he was biting off the little end bits on the hairbrush, on his hairbrush. He did it the other day. And he destroyed his brush. Luckily, he didn't get very far, but it was no good. So I bought him another one, and he had that again. So apologies for that earlier, but George is my priority, and obviously I didn't want him choking. So, but yeah, before George interrupted us, I was just saying that if your child was missing, then the whole narrative wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be thinking about PR people who are part of the government. They have represented paedophiles and rapists and all sorts of people. You just wouldn't go there. And they actually rang the media before they spoke to the police. Did you know that? And the only reason why the police got called was because the club rang the police. The club and the guards, the National Guards, whatever it was. But the phone call records show that the police were rang at 10:42, and Kate raised the alarm just after 10. Well, between 9:45 and 10. And that was only because the Ocean Club Resort rang the police. Okay, so I'm sorry, but there is no evidence. There is not one speck of evidence that there was a break-in or an abduction. I've looked at this, and I'm going to keep looking at it, and I'm going to read the rest of this in a moment. But I just want to say there is zero evidence of an abduction. There was no broken window, no broken door. The way they've got around that is to say the door was left unlocked. They've had to say the door was left unlocked, otherwise there'd be a damaged door. They've had to say they left the children and checked on them, because otherwise there'd be no explanation why no one's seen this so-called abductor. So they've risked getting done for child neglect because they know what they've done is far worse. And they've never been done. People say to me every single day that these people should be prosecuted for child neglect. No, because there was no child neglect. That's the whole point. They never left them. It was all a lie to try and explain how an abductor got in, because they weren't there. Do you get me? There can't be a babysitting service. They couldn't be there. They've had to come out with this elaborate story that they weren't there, and they left the doors unlocked for this baddie to swoop in. That's why this story doesn't make any sense, and that is why they have never been done for neglect, because they didn't neglect. Not at that point anyway. Anyway, moving on. I'll get off my soapbox now. So we're going to continue. But yeah, some of the stuff that I'm seeing, my mind's blown. Now, sorry you can't really read this. It's too small, but I'm going to read it to you. All right. So, okay. So this was this piece of journalism that was done and banned by the McCanns. Now, this was run in the Daily Express as well, which got pulled down. I'm not joking. I've got at least 50 pieces of evidence, interviews, articles to show you all. There's so much. And I've managed to find the original article that the Daily Express run that got them sued by the McCanns, but that's coming after. So, okay. Also, I just want to add, this entire thing isn't about pinning this onto the McCanns. We are just looking at evidence. That's it. Available evidence. Everything that I'm showing you is in the public domain. Some of it is harder to find, but you can find it. It's all in the public domain. It's not hearsay. It's written down. Okay. Secondly, this isn't about pinning it on anybody. It's about going through what's happened with the evidence available and just looking at the facts. And the fact remains is there is no sign of an abduction other than the McCann's word. That's it. Okay, so they were talking about how the parents didn't spend much time with the children. The children were functioning like clocks. They were asleep at 8. And then half an hour later, they met the Tapas friends again. Did they really leave them, or did one of the parents stay behind? I just don't know. Now, Matthew Oldfield, one of the Tapas 7, he's back in England now, because this was written on the 30th of June 2007, and he reacts with surprise when this newspaper, The Soul, contacts him. We drank, we were on holiday, so what, is what he said. Now, Again, this article is called Pact of Silence, and it is basically indicating that the Tapas 7 were lying to cover each other's backs. Now, we're going to continue here. It would have been 10 p.m. when Kate decided to check the children at the apartment. This is if you're going by their story. This is the only moment in the story that gathers consensus. Madeleine had vanished from her bedroom and the twins were sleeping like nothing happened. The mother was back at the restaurant in one leap. She was disorientated. So just imagine you find your daughter missing in a strange apartment. Again, she's on holiday. It's not like it's a big house. It's not like it's a 2-bedroom house. We're looking at a little apartment. So if there's a baddie in there, he's not going to be far, is he? He's going to be in another room. He's going to be in the wardrobe, hiding or anything behind a door. So what does she do? She goes back to the restaurant and leaves her 2 twins asleep. That wouldn't happen. I'm sorry. And this is another reason why they won't sue anyone who isn't part of the establishment. Because if they tried to sue someone like Richard D. Hall or someone like Sonia Poulton, they would have to have this come out in court. And in court, they wouldn't be able to control the narrative. They can control the narrative in our corrupt mainstream media. We are going to get into that at another point as well, how Jerry McCann, after all of this, a few years later, do you know that he tried to change the media so it could be shaped how he wanted it? That's how deep this goes. He was trying to get the media. I've got press conferences and interviews with him where he's talking about how he's doing it. You could not make this shit up, folks, honestly. So, in seconds, the resort is in turmoil. Again, we're carrying on from Pact of Silence. This is what the journalist said when she went to visit and spoke to the staff there. The group's 4 men and the club's employees check every corner. They seem to be oblivious of the essential to call the authorities. The GNR, we had this the other day, so I'm just starting off where we left, which was a National Guard. I remember Mocker told us what it meant. Is the first to arrive at the scene, but the news only reached the Polizia Judiciaria, which is PJ, which is why it's called the PJ files, more than 2 hours later. The first explanations arise. Now, usually what happens initially is usually the truth or getting to the truth, because that's before the elaborate stories really take hold. This is why I like the original story, because that's where you can pick it apart. So, where were the parents when the child disappeared? The police were asking. Jerry explained that inspired, we read this the other day, but I'm going to repeat it, inspired in the scheme that some of the friends had used on their holidays in Greece. One of them was Dr. David Payne, more on him soon. The 9 members of the group took turns in checking on the children with some regularity. Again, I'm not convinced that this actually happened, or if it did happen, I don't believe it happened how they're saying it did. This is the beginning of a story that will change in many chapters. Jerry starts by saying that he first left the table to check on the children around 9:05. When he entered the apartment, the children were fine. This is what he said at first. He just noticed that the door to their bedroom was partially open. He looked at the window, which was closed just as the shutters, and relaxed. So he's saying there that he checked on the children. 10 minutes later, his friend Jane Tanner, who was married to, I think, was Oakfield, another doctor. They're all doctors. Who went around the apartment. She crossed ways with a dark-haired man. I am repeating myself. We did do this the other day, but there's not much crossover. I think we got to like here before. So we're just going to continue from here. Now, she's saying that she's in a dark-haired man carrying a child. She didn't make any connections either, even though it's supposed to have the same pyjamas on. A few minutes later, Matthew Oldfield, another doctor, Jane Tanner's husband, and why they don't have their last name, enters the room, sees the McCann children fast asleep, and notices nothing out of the ordinary. It is 10 p.m. that Maddie's mother discovers her daughter has disappeared with the window wide open and the shutters up. To the National Guard, who were in the area with sniffer dogs to search for the child, this is a highly unlikely scenario. This is what we read the other day. I'm just going to repeat it. It's an extremely silent area where there are practically no passing cars. That shutter was very difficult to lift from the outside and would have made a lot of noise. It would have been a lot easier to use the door, but there were no signs of a break-in, so therefore they've had to push this narrative of the door wasn't locked. This was just one of the reasons why the group became suspicious in the eyes of the investigators. Russell O'Brien, sorry, that's Jane Tanner's husband, I don't know why they got different last names, is already back in England, but he knows he could be summoned back to Portugal for a deposition any time. Over the phone with Sol, this newspaper, he tries to keep his British phlegm, whatever that means. It is normal that we are suspects, he says, and the DNA test is a consequence thereof. We were the closest people involved. Strange thing to say. The conversation always comes back to the same issue, the night of the disappearance. The account of that last dinner has disparate versions amongst the group's members. Some swear that someone left the table every half an hour to check on the kids. Others reduce that to half of it. Some say control is made window by window. Some say the adults entered each other's apartments. One of the employees on duty that evening does not remember a lot of movement. Only a tall, grey-haired man getting up from the table once, which is what I've been saying. I don't believe they were gone. It was Russell who 2 days earlier also attended the dinner. So that means he wasn't there the day before. He was there the day before that. An aerobic instructor from the resort entertains dinner guests at the Tapas with a quiz. At 9:30, the game ends. Jerry invites her to their table where she stays for half an hour. Why would you do that? Why would you invite the aerobics instructor to your table? That's a bit weird. Where she stays for half an hour. Is that something to do with swinging and stuff? If you're a married couple, you wouldn't be inviting the woman over, would you? I wouldn't like that. The man, anyway, doing that. During that time, she later confided to friends that nobody left the table. What was I saying? But one of the chairs was vacant. Now, Najova Chekia, who's this entertainer woman, aerobic instructor, refuses to talk to Sol, which is this newspaper. And Russell, when the question starts to surround him, loses his sympathy. I have nothing further to tell you. I am not going to dishonour the promise I assumed with Kate and Jerry. They want to control all information that is disclosed. Jerry changes his version of events several times, but he maintains that the door to his children's room was open. Matt revokes his first statement. When he entered Madeleine's room, the door was open and there was more light, as if the shutters had been raised. He starts to develop the theory that there was already someone inside the apartment, which reinforces Jane Tanner's version that she saw a man carrying a child. Now, that has already been discredited, that one. Let me just check the chat. How are we doing, everybody? Thanks for being here. I'm not really looking at chat. I'm just reading this article. Just want to get through it. 58 watching and we have 23 likes. Thank you, everyone, for coming back. I do appreciate you. Hit the like, guys. All helps. So, I'm sorry they've made you angry, Rose. I can stop them at any time. If you guys don't want me to continue, I won't. But every time I've asked, well, apparently no, Bridget. According to all the interviews and police files I've read so far, David Payne visited Kate and Madeleine around 6:30 while Jerry was playing tennis, and he went and visited them. He was the last person to see Madeleine alive. He wasn't one of the ones that was checking on the kids. That was that Oakfield guy, Matthew Oakfield. But we'll get into that in a minute. I'm just finishing my tea. It's gone cold now. Hang on. From what I'm reading, they all were going for this Robert Murat. They all wanted. Oh, okay, right. I just don't want to piss you guys off, you know. Hi Nathan Penn. Hi Loza. Hi Saskia. Hi everybody. I'm not ignoring you, okay? I'm just not really reading chat. So I've finished my tea now. I'm going to carry on. Hi Stella. Hi everyone. Right. I'm going to ignore chat again, okay? So now Jane Tanner reckons that she's seen this mystery man carrying the child. So there is a witness where deposition contradicts this theory. Jeremy Wilkins. Now, we did read this bit the other day, but I'm just going to go through it again because people might have missed it. Jeremy Wilkins, who was the guy, if I remember rightly, was playing tennis with Jerry that day. I think this guy is probably not involved, right? Because he says that he met Maddie's father during their holiday and he used to play tennis with him. So he wasn't part of the Tapas 7 and he only met him on holiday. Remember, this was only 2 days before they were due to go home. They'd already been there for like most of the week. He was walking his 8-month-old son at the time he met Jerry, who went out through the apartment's back door after having checked on the children. And the two men, this was after Jerry checked, exchanged a brief conversation. At that time, if one is to believe the first accounts, which is what you need to look at, the first accounts, not when they change them, Jane would have left Tapas in the direction of the apartment's main entrance and would have crossed paths with both of them. It was very narrow, and I think it would have been almost impossible to walk by without me taking notice, Jeremy says, pointing out the fact that he saw no man carrying a child, as Jane states. I believe that Jane Tanner made all of this up to cover up, to push this Robert Murat narrative. Now, they all say at some point that they've seen this Robert Murat guy, right? Who was later cleared. Just saying. But Jane continues to guarantee that at the top of the street she saw a man with a child in his arms, even though, as we've just seen, it's that quiet there, little cobbled streets, barely lit. You wouldn't be able to see that much detail. And secondly, he would have had to have walked straight past the dad and this Jeremy guy, the dad's friend he went on holiday playing tennis with, and he would have seen him. You imagine a little narrow, little cobbled street, and someone walks past you with a kid in your arms, your own kid. That's just rubbish. Although the area is scarcely lit and the situation did not make her suspicious at the time, she describes the beige trousers. She starts describing Robert Murat. They had decided, in my opinion, who they were going to blame. I think that Maddie probably died the day before or the day before that, in my opinion. And I'm formulating this opinion from what I'm seeing. That's all. Right? I haven't got it in for anybody or anything like that. She describes the beige trousers, dark thick jacket and black classic style shoes in a detailed way. Once again, Jeremy disagrees. If that happened, I would have likely seen it. I don't think he was involved. Now, we're going to carry on here, but I do want to add that we are going to be covering, again, there's going to be so many of these, Sky News and this Martin Brunt, who was involved in the death of somebody who was questioning the McCanns, and he actually doorstepped her and called her a troll, and she took her own life. We'll be doing a whole show on that. if you want me to. Like, I'm just going to carry on now. I'll check the chat at the end, and then you guys can let me know if you want me to continue or not. I'm really invested in this, and I'm going to make a documentary, right? Probably won't be very good because I'm like not as good as like all these other people on YouTube, but I'm going to have a go at putting all the evidence into one piece, that's not live, that's an actual, recording. I'm going to do that anyway. And while I'm going through all the evidence, I'm doing it live with you, but I don't have to. Okay, I can just do this in a separate time. But if you want me to continue with it, with you guys here, I will. But I'll check the chat in a bit and you can let me know. So on the next day, the media circus was fully installed. The first reports are on Sky News first thing in the morning. That was like 9 hours after it happened, allegedly happened, even before the Portuguese press knew about it. Journalists and locals dispute the information. Robert Murat, the son of an English mother and a Portuguese father, with little luck in business, does not waste the opportunity. He moves from failed businessman, this is a bit weird, into the role of a translator for the press and the police. Some British journalists, after sucking him to the bones, were suspecting his availability. This could be innocent. This could be, he's down on his luck. He's not very good at what he does. And he thinks, oh, I can speak fluent Portuguese and I can speak fluent English. So I'm going to go between the two and, I'm going to be on TV. It could be that, or it could be that he is involved, and just like with the Holly and Jessica case with that Ian Huntley, he wanted to be involved. He wanted to be on the news and, take centre stage, and he was part of it. Look at Chris Watts in America. I haven't even covered that case. I don't know that much about it, but it's intriguing. He was all over the news, and it was him that killed his own wife and kids. So I can understand why people thought that this Robert Murat might have been involved. Right. Just there's breaking news coming on, just to interrupt this. Israel sends missiles into Tehran. Israeli authorities confirm IDF strikes have taken place, and apparently Israel is under attack. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. If anything else happens whilst we're on air, I will bring that to you, because obviously this is serious shit, guys. Okay. Now, the Murat contradiction. Contrary to the National Guard people, elements, and the Ocean Club's staff who participated in the searches the night before, they assure they did not see Murat around. George, what's the matter? George is barking at something. So remember, these Tapas 7 are all supposed to have seen this guy hanging around or carrying Madeleine, but the locals never seen him. Jerry and some of his friends guarantee that he was there, and thus he becomes an aguado, which is a suspect, which is a person of interest in a case. It means that they're more than a witness, but there's not enough evidence to charge them, which is kind of like a suspect, but they call them aguado. He only became an aguado because the McCanns and the Tapas 7 said that they seen him. And Jane Tanner said that she's seen someone with his description carrying a child. That was the only evidence they had against him. And the fact that he was speaking to police and offering his services to be a translator, a bit overly keen, which was a bit suspicious. But there was no actual physical evidence, only hearsay and circumstantial evidence. Now, goes on. Kate and Jerry's friends, who are interrogated tightly by the PJ, that's the police, over almost a month, refuse to clarify this contradiction. So they're adamant that they're right. We have a pact. This is what they say when this reporter speaks to them, Seoul newspaper. This is quoting from the Tapas 7. We have a pact. This is our matter only. It is nobody else's business, says David Payne. We're going to get on to him after. Another element with the group. Minutes after we tried to contact Kate, Jerry, in a fury, what was that? You're right, George. I think he's seen something, a hedgehog or something. Jerry, in a fury, calls the sole journalist. So they're trying to speak to David Payne, who, as you're going to see after, is a rather dodgy character to say the least. Allegedly. So Jerry does not like the journalist contacting him. So he says to the journalist, what do you think you are doing? Do you think, this is to the Portuguese press, do you think you're better than the Portuguese police? I'm going to forward your contact to PJ, the police, and you will have to explain yourselves. He is very touchy about these journalists speaking to this David Payne, who had gone home. Okay, pretty much straight away. Now, the PJ, police, everybody is a suspect. The director of Policia Judicia, the PJ in Faro, I'm not even going to go and say that name, but you can see it there. It's a gobful. Gilhermino de Encaraco. I did it. Confirmed with Sol that we, listen to this, do not discard the possibility of having the family and friends as suspects. This is always done without neglecting other clues. Everybody who was at the resort at the time are suspects. So they were named as suspects. So that concludes the article, The Pact of Silence. Right, now, where are we? How are we getting on? So I'm going to shut that down and I'm just going to, bear with me. I want to show you, there's so much to do, honestly. My brain is like whirring here. Where's that gone now? Right. So there was an article within the PJ files and there was a witness statement, and let me just find it. Just bear with me a sec, please. I need to find this. Okay, but there is a lot in here. Right, I think I've got it. I think this is concerning me. This made me feel very uneasy, what I'm going to read to you now. It's tiny. This website is from 2007. It is very, very small. Can't make it any bigger. It's not letting me. Oh, hang on a minute. It is, but it's going off the bloody screen. Just hold on. It's not letting me make it bigger that way. Now, this here it's from a website called Just 5 Hours in May. What really happened to Madeleine McCann? And this is the good work of people who were watching this at the time and who were literally documenting everything that was happening, because they obviously knew that a lot of this was going to be lost to time. So I am going to show you this now, and I'm going to read this out. Now, from what I can see here, this is all in the PJ files. All right. These are witness statements. Thank God someone's put all of this into a website. It's a very old looking website, but it's still up. And it is called Just 5 Hours in May. All right. And it's called, yeah. So this website is still up. Now, we've got links that proof that all this is real. Someone hasn't just made it up. There is actual links to where this website got all this information from. All right. This isn't just someone making stuff up. Now, this is about the Payne allegation, Dr. David Payne. All right. I know you can't really see it, but I'm going to read it out. Okay. The website's really old, 18 years old. So, on the 16th of May, two doctor friends of the McCanns and the Paynes make a statement to Leicestershire Police. So, Madeleine had been missing for 13 days. This is going to blow your mind if you haven't already heard this, because it blew my mind. So, two doctor friends of the McCanns and the Paynes, right, of these two people, Fiona and David Payne, go to Leicestershire Police 13 days after the disappearance, all right, in which they express their concern over sexually suggestive gestures made by David Payne on a previous holiday in Mallorca. So they see what's going on and it concerns them enough to go to the police and say, we're concerned. Something happened when we were on our last holiday with David Payne, and now a child's gone missing. Okay. These alleged gestures are considered by one of the witnesses to be consistent with acts of paedophilia. Again, this isn't hearsay. These are witness statements, and I'm going to read the statement out to you in a minute. They actually went and made a statement to the police. They were that concerned about this Dr. David Payne. The same Dr. David Payne who, like I've just told you, when the journalist rang him, he said, I'm done now. What was it? It's none of your business. And then Jerry got very flustered about the journalist talking to him. Right, we're going to hear the statement in a minute, but listen to this. These are the witnesses, okay? Hang on, we've got some more here. Hang on. Obviously, on the 20th of May, 2007, Jerry McCann was ordered home where he met Clarence Eden Mitchell. So they went in on the 16th to make this statement, right? Clarence Mitchell must have known about this statement because he ordered Jerry back 4 days later, where he met Clarence Mitchell, the first time on a circumstantial meeting in the office of Leicestershire Police. The statements then were not sent from Leicestershire Police to the PJ until the 24th of October. So let me just repeat what that means. These two witnesses, I'm going to read the statement in a moment, went to the police concerned because David Payne had been on a previous holiday with them, and they said it acts of paedophilia, which we're going to see now. Well, we're not going to see it, we're going to read about it. Now Leicestershire Police, instead of sending that to the Portuguese police, which is a big piece of evidence, you've got a missing child only a few weeks ago, and you've got a potential pedo in that camp in the Tapas 7, they never sent it to the Portuguese police until October, because Clarence Mitchell was involved. So 4 days later, Clarence Mitchell orders Jerry back to the UK. Remember, he's not leaving without his daughter. Orders him back and meets him at Leicestershire Police. And he makes sure that the witness statement, doesn't go to the Portuguese. For months. Why? Why was this not done? The statements were then not sent from Leicestershire Police to the PJ until the 24th of October 2007, arriving on the 26th of October 2007, 24 days after the Detective Amaral had been removed from the investigation. That was the initial detective who was all over this shit, who has wrote the book and said that they wanted him gone. Our police and whoever got involved, and they got him gone, and then they sent the statement over about David Payne. What is going on? That should have gone straight there. I don't know what people are saying in chat. Right. Oh. Okay, I'm going to read the statement out now. That's an interesting thought, Wendy, actually. Right. I am going to continue. I'm just glancing at the chat. Okay, right. If anything else happens with obviously with the fact that World War III could be breaking out, then, you know, I've resigned from Reform. What do you mean resigned? You mean as a member? You wasn't standing for them? We need to all stick together, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But, you know. But anyway, I'm going to digress and not read the chat because I get distracted. Okay, so these are all the links. I'm going to put this link in the chat, right? Because there's a lot of links here to the actual originals to show that this is real. Again, I know it's tiny, but it's just how the website is. I can just about read it myself. Right. So the disturbing fact is that the Payne allegation was never followed by the British police. The Gasper statement, which is what we're going to read now, was withheld from the PJ until the end of October, when Gonzalo Amaral was already dismissed from the investigation. Neither Jerry McCann nor David Payne were ever questioned about this severe allegation. See especially David Payne's last interview, which we'll watch after, on the 11th of April 2008, where the British officer never hooked in when the crucial Mallorca holiday came into discussion. The 2008 rogatory took place in Leicestershire, UK, on demand of the PJ, but although PJ was attendant, the Portuguese were not allowed to ask any questions. So what happened was in 2008, I think it was April 2008, the Portuguese police went over to Britain to question the Tapas 7. But, well, they were allowed to sit in on the British interviewing them. I just want to add something as well before I continue, is that when the Tapas 7 were very first, and I mean initially interviewed, straight after, do you know that each one was interviewed, not separately, in couples, and each member was given the other people's copies on DVD of the other people's interviews? That was a massive, massive mistake by the police. So they could get their story straight. They should have all been taken in individually, interrogated, and not disclosed what the others had said. That, to me, blew the whole investigation, because that's how they could make their pact of silence. Anyway, moving on. We're going to get on to the... I'm not reading chat, so if you're in chat and you're saying anything, then I'll check it in a bit, okay? So this is an extract of the witness statement from this Katharina Gasper on the 16th of May 2007. So this is the lady who I've just told you about that was concerned about Dr. David Payne because she'd spent a holiday with him and her children in 2005. So this is her statement. In September 2005, Savio I&E who at the time, this must be her kids, who at the time was about 1.5 years old, about one, and at the time was about 1.5 years old, went to spend our holidays abroad in Mallorca. I'm guessing the twins are the same age. We went on holiday with Kate, Jerry, and Madeleine. So they were there as well then, who would have been around 2.5 at the time. And the twins, Sean and Amelie, were just months old. So this was like a 1.5 years earlier when Madeleine was just a toddler and the babies weren't even 1. I remember that I was pregnant with okay? So they're not twins, she's pregnant. Right. During those holidays, they were also friends with Kate and Jerry with us. So they went on holiday with Jerry and Kate, and there was some of Jerry and Kate's friends as well, but they weren't their friends. There was a couple whose names were Dave and Fiona, and whose surname was Payne. I think that they were married and had one daughter aged about 1 named Is it L? I can't read L. They're not naming the kids, which is fine, just initials. I remember that during those holidays that Fiona was pregnant. That's David's wife, another doctor. They're all doctors. And there was another couple whose names were Tara and Stuart, but whose surname I cannot remember, who were also on holiday with us. They had 2 boys aged 1 and 3, whose names I do not remember. I did not know these 2 families before we went on holiday together. From memory, I think it was David Payne, who organised these holidays, and we all stayed together in a big house when we were in Mallorca. David Payne, folks, was the same one who organised the holiday to the Algarve, where Madeleine went missing, and he organised this holiday. He did like organising his holidays with families with children. So she goes on, we spend a week on holiday. However, the McCann family and the Payne family stayed for 2 weeks. I think that Tara and Stuart and their 2 children also stayed for just 1 week. So they only went for the week, but the McCanns and the Payne stayed longer. 2 or 3 days had gone by. We were all staying in Mallorca, where in general terms we had fun with our children. Possibly around the 4th or perhaps the 5th day, I remember an incident that stayed recorded in my head. I say this in this way because I have thought numerous times about the incident that I am about to describe since the date. One night when we were on holiday, the adults, in other words, the couples that I mentioned, were on a patio outside the house where we were staying. We had been eating and drinking. I was sitting between Dave and Jerry, Dr. David Payne and Jerry McCann, whom I believe were talking about Madeleine. I don't remember the conversation in its entirety, but it seemed they were discussing a possible scenario. I remember Dave telling Jerry something like she, referring to Madeleine, would do this. When he mentioned this, Dave was sucking on one of his fingers, pushing it in and out of his mouth, whilst with the other hand he circled his nipple with a circulating movement under his clothes. This was done in a provocative manner, there being an explicit insinuation in relation to what he was saying and doing. He was saying this to Madeleine's dad, Jerry. I remember that I was shocked at this and looked at Jerry and also at Dave to see their reaction. I looked around to see, did anyone else hear this? Or was it just me? There was a nervous silence noted in the conversation of all of the others, and immediately afterwards everyone began talking again. I never spoke to anyone about this, but I always felt it was something very strange, and it wasn't something that should be done or said. It's sick, isn't it, folks? It's proper sick. Oh, right, where were we now? Hang on, I've just got to find where we are. No. Oh, where was I? Apart from that, Okay. Apart from this, I remember that Dave did the same thing once again. When I refer to this David Payne was the last person to see Madeleine alive, by the way, officially, when he went to visit. Apparently, he went to visit Madeleine and Kate whilst Jerry played tennis. He went to go and check on them. Why? That's according to his witness statement at 6:30 that day, on the 3rd. So apart from this, I remember Dave did the same thing once again. When I refer to this, I want to mention again that it was during a conversation in which he was talking about an imaginary situation, though I could not say precisely what it was about. I believe that he was talking about his own daughter, who I think they said was L, though I'm not certain. He slid one of his fingers in and out of his mouth while the other hand drew a circle around his nipple in a provocative and sexual manner. I believe that he was referring to the way that L would behave or would do it. I believe that he did this later on during the holidays, but I cannot be sure. The only time besides this one that I was with Dave and Fiona was several weeks after the holidays, when Savio and I met up with Jerry and Kate, Dave and Fiona, at a restaurant in Leicester. I am absolutely certain that he said what he said and that he made the gestures that I refer to, but that could have occurred in the restaurant in Leicester, even though I believe that it was later on in Mallorca. When I heard Dave saying and doing this a second time, I took it more seriously. I remember thinking, whenever he looked at the girls in a different way from me or from the others, I imagined that maybe he had visited internet sites related to small children. In short, I thought he might be interested in CP on the internet. During our holidays, I was more attentive at bath times after hearing David say, during our holidays in Mallorca, it was the fathers who took care of the children's baths. I had the tendency to walk close to the bathroom if it was Dave bathing the children. I remember telling Savio, who took care to be there in case it was Dave helping to bath the children, and in particular my daughter E. I was very clear about this, as having heard him say that had disturbed me, and I did not trust him to give E to bath E alone. So this is where this bath stuff comes from that people have been mentioning about. One of them was bathing the kids. So on this holiday in Mallorca, this guy, according to this, was bathing the children. This isn't hearsay. This isn't an interview with a journalist. This is a witness statement. She went to the police station and said all of this. Why didn't Leicestershire police send this straight over to the Portuguese police? They waited until they'd gotten rid of the cop who was in charge, who was asking the right questions. This is, in my opinion, from what I'm reading, this is a massive cover-up, folks. And that's just from what I'm reading. So, she goes on. When I heard Dave say that a second time, it reinforced what I already thought in relation to his thoughts about girls. During our stay in Mallorca, Dave and his wife Fiona, accompanied by their daughter Elle, took Madeleine with them to spend the day. This is in 2005, okay? In order to give Kate and Jerry a bit of a rest and time to be with the twins. When I say this, it is not that I was worried about Madeleine's safety, since she was also with Fiona and Elle, and also with Dave, as far as I know. As I have already mentioned, I was only with Dave and Fiona on one occasion after Mallorca, and I have not spoken to them since then. In the last 2 years, we have not met as a family with the McCanns we have met as a family with the McCanns every now and then. This mainly happened on the children's birthdays, a time when we met up. What do you think about this? So that's her statement. Now, there's all links in here. All right. Now, I have linked this in if you want to go and check it out. This is disturbing stuff. And it's not very nice stuff for me to read. It's quite distressing for me to read. As I say, you can go and read it yourself. I know it's tiny. This is why you're better off doing it yourself. But you can zoom in on your phone if you've got your phone or your tablet. It's quite disturbing, isn't it? So that was her statement. Now, this goes on here about the Lolita photo. Remarks: the disturbing Madeleine Lolita photo shown above was released by the McCann Fund. See more information at McCann's release Madeleine's Lolita photo and a new 3 years of disappearance video. 60 reasons. These are all articles linked in here. 60 reasons why the McCanns should not have published that photo. A strange picture of Madeleine. Maddie plays dress up weeks before she vanished. So I don't know what you think about this photo. I don't know if it's going to let me open it. It's tiny, but she's got makeup on. Now, this is a 3-year-old child. She's got something in her hair. She's got blue eyeshadow on. This is, to me, inappropriate for your child to be dressed up like that. What do you reckon? I don't like that picture. I think it's wrong. And why would you release that by the Find Maddie Fund, which is still going today? It does feel very, very wrong. Now, David Payne was interviewed, like I just said, by the British police in April 2008. They had this statement from this lady who had just put all of this on record in a police station as a witness. And by this point, they made the Portuguese police had it, but only after that detective had gone. They decided to re-interview the Tapas 7 in April 2008. Now, somebody whoever's done this website a week in May, the 24th of April 2009, they have taken an extract from David Payne's statement, rogatory statement to Leicestershire Police on the April the 10th. I think that's the actual statement there. You see, we can't get into it, see? Every time I try and open the PJ files, because it's all of this is in the PJ files, by the way, folks, all of it. Yeah. It's just really hard to find, but it is in there. It is in there. So the link to the PJ files is not opening. To get to it, I have to go on my phone, on my laptop here doing this stream. I have to put my VPN to Portugal. I have to set DuckDuckGo to Portugal. And I can then access the PJ files, which are the police files, as I've said before. The Portuguese police dumped everything in October 2008, what they had on this case. Everything. They dumped the lot. The McCanns got it right from the internet, but there are still copies. And thank you to some amazing people who transcribed it into English as well. So we're having to trust this website who has taken it from there. but I've seen the originals and this is 100% genuine. I've seen the original statement. Now, listen to this. We're going to end on this David Payne one because I'm going to read you excerpts of David Payne's statement about missing Madeleine McCann. 39 likes, guys. Hit the like. Welcoming everybody. I'm just glancing at chat. We've got John Woodmass. Hello. We've got Peter Johnson. Hello. We've got Sparkle Soul. Hello, darling. How you doing? Ray Clay's here. Welcoming and everyone. Bill's here. Thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate you guys. So this is an excerpt of his statement. And then afterwards, the person who's done this then takes out all the oohs and ahs and ers and puts it together in English. But I'm going to read out exactly this excerpt from his statement in 2008 about Madeleine. Okay. He says, Madeleine's very striking beautiful child. This is David Payne to the police. I'd almost, if I want a better phrase, call her doll-like. You know, she was very, you know, I think you know, very unique looking child. She's got a very pretty, you know, blonde hair in a bob. She was quite a petite child. She's even notice how he's saying was. It's just under a year since she's missing. This is the guy who was accused of being, you know, this is the sucky finger guy, the bathing the kids guy, yeah, on holiday with the McCanns. Last person to see Madeleine alive as well. A good friend of Jerry's. So he goes on. She was, hang on, child, you know, she was a very bubbly, very, you know, she was a very good child to interact with. This is a doctor. Doctors don't normally talk like this. She was very bright. She could have a lot of fun. No, you could have a lot of fun with Madeleine. And you know she was, you know, Kate and Jerry's, you know, pride and joy. They'd had a lot of trouble conceiving, you know, with IVF and everything, and you know, Madeleine was their miracle. She was obviously very unique with the fact that she's got the, you know, the iris defect, but you know she was certainly a happy-go-lucky child. Again, it's all was. You know she would interact with other children very well. As I said on the other earlier recording, you know, she played very happily with Lily, that's his daughter, and you know, indeed, the other children. She was, you know, she is a very beautiful child and good fun. You know, a fact I've come across already, you know, she was a very bright child. You know, she wouldn't be the kind of mischievous child who, you know, and just try and get out of the flat and, you know, get up to mischief and that. You know, there's fun in all children, but she certainly wasn't that kind of child. She was very bright. Remark. The Payne testimony at Leicester Police is badly to understand, full of stammering. If we just edit all of the nonsense stammering, we find out what he was saying. Right? So I'm now going to read out, without all the stammering nonsense, what this sicko was trying to say about Madeleine. Again, he's already been accused of being disgusting around children and bathing the children. So again, I'm reading this out. It's quite difficult for me. It's quite disturbing, but you know, it needs to be done. So I'm going to get rid of all the stammering, and this is exactly what he said. I quote, Madeleine's a very striking, beautiful child. I'd almost, if I want a better phrase, call her doll-like. She was very, I think, very unique looking child. She's got very pretty blonde hair in a bob. She was quite a petite child and she was very bubbly. She was a very good child to interact with. She was very bright. You could have a lot of fun with Madeleine. She was Kate and Jerry's pride and joy. They've had a lot of trouble conceiving with IVF and everything, and Madeleine was their miracle. She was obviously very unique with the fact she's got the iris defect. She was certainly a happy-go-lucky child. She would interact with the other children very well. As I said on the other earlier recording, she played very happily with Lily and indeed the other children. She was very stutter. She is very, he's talking about her in the past tense. She is a very beautiful child and good fun. A fact I've come across already, she's a very bright child. She wouldn't be the kind of mischievous child who, and just try and get out of the flat, just up to mischief and that. There's fun in all children, but she certainly wasn't that kind of child. She was very bright. Now, it goes on. The person who's done this says, interesting how he rephrases, which is what I've just picked up, she was very, to she is a very beautiful child, and later says she was and then she's a very bright child. Seemingly he knew more than he said. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking that there's a lot going on here with this dude. It's I just don't know what to say really, you know. Now this is another thing that's quite disturbing, right? Now, try and explain it as best I can. Jerry, again, this is all in the public domain, so you know, if they want to sue me, then they're going to have to get this taken down, because I'm just reading what's in the public domain. They've missed a couple. This was, guys, this was removed by the internet. The McCanns literally scrubbed the internet. Luckily, there are still websites up that saved all this. And if you noticed, I can't get into the PJ files on my laptop. I can't get into them. I've just showed you, haven't I? It won't let me open it. It's dangerous. It's dangerous, it says. It's not safe. And when I click it, I don't mind. Do you mind if it's not safe? No, it's fine. I click it and nothing happens. They've censored the internet. We are in China. I've said this before. Forget China, North Korea. We are already there. We are not in a democracy. We just think we're in a democracy. We're not. We're actually worse. At least in China, you know you're not in a democracy. You know that you're being watched. We think we're free. We are not free, folks. We are not free. Okay, now this is extremely disturbing, and I cannot prove this, all right? I'm just going by this website, but so far I have checked everything. I have checked the PJ files on my phone, and these statements, what I've just read out, did happen. All right? They happened. Fact. Right. Okay. Now, Jerry's CATS record. We find some information on the CAT system on the website of the WPC software company, which actually sells the system to UK police forces and government. The CAT software, which is Case Administration and Tracking System, consists of 3 modules: child protection, domestic abuse, and vulnerable adult. The CAT system was developed in the absence of a national database for child protection. Remember, in the US, you've got a database for children, you can literally check up if there's any PDF files in the vicinity. You can't do that in the UK. So the police created this, well, this company created this database for the police to access. And in light of the recommendation in Lord Lamming's report into the death of Victoria Clambier, I think that was that little girl that was, I think she was in Erdington, if it's the same one, what I'm thinking of, what she got found doing acid or something in the bones. It was awful, if it's the one I'm thinking of, but it was a child that got killed. That chief constables must ensure that their police force has in use an effective child protection database and IT management system. So this is where the CAT came in, this system. This website was put together in 2008, 2009. I don't know if this is still around today, but at the time, this was around. So, CAT gives a much clearer picture of the child or vulnerable person referred to them. The data collected in CATs can be used to piece together vital information on family background of that individual, helping the user make more informed decisions. So if there's something going on, the police can just check this database and see, right, okay, this is a vulnerable child, this is a vulnerable adult, this person who's caring for this vulnerable child is on this database or not on the database, yeah? So CATs may also use to help identify previous accusations against suspects, offering further lines of investigation. So if you've been questioned about something that's down the lines of, child something, hurting children or whatever, you will be on this database. Even if you're not charged, you've been questioned. So you're like, flag up, is what it's saying here. And valuable information to help assess the safety of the vulnerable person, either a vulnerable adult or a child. Incidents go through a managed process from a new referral to a finalised incident. As a case is progressed, CATS validates the information collected and ensures the case has visibility to the relevant officers and staff members. You only get a number when you've gone through it and you're out the other side. Oh, thanks, Joe, darling. How kind. Thank you, my love. So it goes through a managed process from a new referral. I've read that bit. Incident reports can be generated for sharing of information between police and social services. A full audit trail is available in CATS, which enables supervisors to monitor usage of them. So you can see a full audit trail. Now, customers, again, this was a software made by a company for the police. Customers who use CATS, this website, some of them include Dyfed Powys Police in Wales, Leicestershire Police and Warwickshire Police. Words of praise. I'm very pleased with the recent developments to CATS, which are in response to the requirements of those officers and staff using the system every day. The strategic group are particularly excited by current work to merge child abuse, domestic abuse and vulnerable adult referrals. Detective Superintendent Jackie Alexander, former chairperson of the National CAT Strategic Group, said. All right. Now, there's an entry here, but I bet you any money I can't get into it. Oh, I can. Right. Let me just come out of it a sec. I will go into that in a minute. Okay. Now, this topic of discussion is far from new. Take care, Sparkle. Speak to you soon, my love. Right, where am I now? The topic of discussion is far from new, though no less important for being that, but it is doing the rounds currently on Twitter. This was around 2009. Much of it revolves around this claim by a certain Chaosis posted verbatim. So somebody posted this on Twitter. All right. Hang on. George is tapping. Can you hear him? George, nearly done now. Okay. What's the matter? Do you need a wee-wee? Do you need a wee-wee? Not another walkies. You've already had a walkies. Have you seen a hedgehog, my George? Just give me a minute. I'm going to read this bit and I'm going to go. This has been really difficult for me tonight, you know, to read. This has been really difficult. I don't even feel comfortable talking about this stuff. I wasn't sure whether I was going to go this deep. All right, I'm coming. It's tapping the mic. All right, listen. Let me just see if Al can take him for a wee. He's dragging the laptop. Hang on. I think he needs a wee-wee. Do you need a wee-wee? Right. Okay. Oh, they look after me. They're good eggs. Yeah, this is a bit... I might actually get rid of this stream. Yeah, I might get rid of it. We'll see. All right. Okay, so now this last bit I'm going to talk about is this person posted on... Again, it's all been in the public domain, okay? This is not anything that I've just come out with out the blue. He's tapping. I think he needs a wee-wee. Would you take him for a wee-wee, please? Well, just stay there because I'm nearly done. Because as soon as you go, it's going to start tapping again. Just hold on one sec. Now, this person posted on Twitter called Chaosis, right? I am quoting, guys. I am not saying this. I don't know if this is true. Jerry McCann was convicted for CS abuses in 2002. Although the evidence has been hacked and emptied from the case file by someone who has access to the National Sex Offenders Register, namely Jim Gamble, I don't know who that is, through the CEOP mainframe connected to every police station crime files in the UK. I don't know who this dude is. I'll have a look after. The reference for this conviction still exists. So the reference number's there, but it's been wiped in the judicial reference. Remember I said that they leave an audit trail. You're right, it's gone now. You take him with you, right? So there's an audit trail left behind, but the actual information's gone in the judicial reference files and confirms that Gerald P. McCann was placed on the CS offenders register following conviction in court and is still on that register today. This is indeed confirmed by an information issued in 2008 by Leicestershire Police. Right, and then it's got that there, whatever that means, Cartas Rogatorias, Volume 3, page 27, Leicestershire Police. It's got here from this Detective Constable Hughes to the Operation Task Department Main Crime Unit, the 16th of May 2008. Background information, Gerald McCann. In response to your letter of request, someone must have put in... Someone's put in a what's it request by the looks of it. I can provide the following information regarding the above mentioned subject. Gerald McCann was born June the 5th, 1968. He's the bearer of British passport, blah, blah, blah. He lives with his wife and children, and that's their address. I'm not going to dox him. The house is subject to a mortgage for he's tapping again. 323,493 with Northern Rock. This was in 2008. There is no report or statement of bank credits listed. However, I've been alerted to the fact of an individual maintains an open account with the same bank or credit card for a long time. He works for an NHS cardiologist. His previous address was not going to dox him. It's too small for you guys to read. Phone number is blah, blah. He's the owner of 2 vehicles. I'm not going to read them out either. That's doxing. No record was found in the National Police computer. A search of the crime location and information only indicates that Mr. McCann was the victim of theft of golf clubs from inside his car in the driveway to his home. A search of the local section of the C abuse shows a registration number 19309 in the CAT system, which is that system I've just spoken about. A consultation with the DC SOAND from the department in question confirms that this is just a file reference, but as a complement of Operation Task System for the purpose of reference, if any investigation should be necessary by the department, no work has been done on the basis of this file. An examination of all of the police files used in a search system does not reveal any information about him, but we've got the number. The sentence, but as a complement to Operation Task Force, sounds much disturbing. This is what they've said. This is as if he is not thought to be an offender. It would mean that everybody in the UK actually has a CAT pedo number, which is definitely nonsense. So what they're saying is, if it's nothing, why has he got a number? Now, everybody doesn't have a number. He's got a number in the CAT system. Why? It also is as if Jerry McCann indeed is registered, just as the record already shows, and he is still under police suspicion. Because remember, you only get a file if you're at the end of it. To do more offences against children. Number 3, alternative, there could be the possibility that the CAT's record stems from the 16th of May itself. As a matter of fact, the case, but was filed as national security through political interference by Downing Street, number 10. Indeed, neither Jerry nor David were ever questioned about the allegations until today. So we're going to stop there because there's lots more. Now, the next time, David Payne's statement about the Mallorca event. So let's, what I've just spoken about, the Mallorca holiday where the Catherine Gasper, oh, it's a super chat. Oh, thanks, Paula. I've just seen that. Oh, thank you, darling. That's really kind of you. Thank you. And to Joe, thank you so much. How you doing, Paula? So this is madness, folks. It's it's really difficult. Now, this case is not nice. It is not very nice at all. When I was finding this out last week, you see, people kept coming to me. The thing is with this case, everyone's heard rumours, and everyone else, people go to me, have you heard about the fact that one of their friends was bathing the little girl? Or have you heard about this? And I'm like, well, I have, but where's your proof? I need proof that these things happened, Just saying to me, have you heard about this? I'm not going to just repeat hearsay. Now, I wasn't looking for that exactly. I just searched his name in DuckDuckGo with my VPN at Portugal and with DuckDuckGo as Portugal, and that came up. You search that under the UK, you can't find it. It doesn't come up. That's the thing, isn't it, darling? Not nice, but necessary to investigate. Yeah, it's not nice. It really isn't. It's difficult for me. I might upload this onto my Odyssey or something, or my Rumble. I'll see. Not a very nice stream, is it really? But as you can see, I'm only touching on it. The UK have been censoring for years. But if you watch the other day, Elaine, and the fact that the press were called and the brother of Gordon Brown was contacted by a friend of the McCanns within hours that Madeleine was reported missing. There's just so much to this case. I could literally be here for days and days and days. The amount of stuff that I've found. It is very disturbing. Thank you, Rose. Appreciate that, my love. it is very disturbing and it is very time consuming. I'm not going to lie. And it is morbid. And I'm already been like quite down anyway from other things. Nothing I'm going to talk about on here, but it's depressing. And you know me, I like to do light-hearted stuff. But if I'm going to start going down these rabbit holes, then you're going to see things that you don't like. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I'll continue it next time. I don't know what I'm going to do with this stream yet. I haven't decided. Again, I don't want anyone to do anything. I don't want anyone to contact anyone or do anything with this. You know, this guy hasn't been, as far as I'm aware, convicted of anything that I know of. So I've got to be careful. I don't want anyone going and looking for the contact details of this dude because, as far as I'm aware, he hasn't been convicted of anything. Oh, thanks, Wendy. It makes me sick. I pray to God that she's alive somewhere. I really do, but I just don't think she is. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Thanks, everyone. So yeah, just to try and change the tone just before we go, let's just have a quick look at the Northern Lights, just so we're not ending on that. They could have been nicked. Yeah, they could have. Honestly, guys, the amount of stuff, like I haven't even hardly touched on the PJ files yet, which are all the proof that the Portuguese police had. Right, so I'm just going to do something quickly to change the subject so we're not ending on that, because that's just depressing, isn't it? Let me just get into my apps. Manage. We're going to have a quick look at... why isn't it doing it? Come on. Where's my apps gone? Honestly, I only use this laptop for streaming. That's it. I don't use it for any other purpose. So I'm really useless at it. Really useless. It's ridiculous how useless I am. I don't know what that means. Right, I just want to find my my app. I can get it up on the screen if I can find it. Right, manage apps and device. Right, see recent updates. Manage this device. I'm looking for my Aurora app so I can show it you. Let's get rid of that. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of like less, and I can't fucking find it now because I'm an idiot. Is that it there? No, that's not it. Anyway, I can tell you what they are at the moment, and we are currently at red alert on Aurora Watch. I was going to get it up on the screen for you, but it's not letting me. We are highly likely now to see. Now, they've been spraying a little bit today, but not as much. So it's pretty cloudy out there. But if you're in the UK at least, I don't know, or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, so if you're in America, Canada, but you're, you know, we are currently at 432. Anything over, I think it's 200, is classed as red. We were actually up to 800 last night, but we're now at 432, which is still pretty high. And we're on a red alert. So, eyes to the skies, folks. Let me just see if I can get it, if I Google it. Hang on. I don't want to end on talking about those horrible things that I've just been talking about. So that's why I'm trying to change the subject. Right. All right, George. George, is this because you want mummy? Or is it because what? What is it? Home alerts. Right. Home. Right, okay. Now this is the current. This is where we are. Hang on a minute, Georgie. George, you've had your dinner. You've had a poo. You've got access to the back garden because Daddy's there. So I just think you just want mummy's attention. It's like a toddler. Right, this is where we are right now, okay? At 11 o'clock. We're now at 11:33. We're up here. We're just over 400. Look, this is right now, guys. George! It's trying to... It's just nearly ripped my laptop out of my hand. What's the matter? George! You're so funny. You're the funniest animal I've ever come across. His little face, the way he looks at me with his big chops. His cute, fluffy chops. I love you. I love you, Georgie. Such a baby. Free Speech has met him numerous times. She will tell you he's not like a normal dog at all. He's like a child. Here we go. Red alert, Aurora Lightly, just over 400. See? So there you go, folks. You've seen it here first. Well, you did tonight anyway. Oh, it's not on there. There you go. So we're trying to check. We just want to end it on a lighter note, even though it's not that much lighter because it's solar storms and, you know, he's a delinquent. Yeah, he is. He's a delinquent. George thinks yeah, he does. He does think I'm talking to him. So there you go, folks. Get eyes to the skies tonight. I think we're going to have a very interesting weekend. I really do with these solar flares. But you know, George, honest to God, he's like a human. He's like a little human. I don't know how else to describe it. His facial expressions are very human-like. Like, he'll look at me and he's like, he can see, he's like, Mummy, and he'll come up to me and he will tap me. So, I've changed the subject, my love. Don't worry. I'm trying to talk about other things. Yeah, I can stop there and we can forget David Payne now, right? And next one, we'll go down other routes, or we can just stop it all together and we can watch something else. We can do something else. It's up to me. He's really, really cute. Let me just get some photos up of him. Hold on. Let's look at some Georgie photos. Don't get me wrong, Gizmo is absolutely just adorable. Right, let me send some photos in. Hold on. 1 sec. You'll like these. George. They're both absolutely adorable, but George, like, he folds his paws like a royalty and everything. It's mad. Little Amy's still here as well. She was here today. Little Amy, our little Robin, resident Robin. Please keep going with it. I'll tell you what I'll do. If I keep going with it, guys, I will not continue the David Payne stuff. I think you've seen enough of it. I think what we'll do, if we continue, the next one I'll do then, we will watch some clips. How about that? Do you want to watch some old interviews from the initial thing? Should we do that? Because it is getting a bit dark, man. Yeah, let's watch some of the clips that I've been telling you about that, you know, are very telling. And then what we'll do, we'll give it a rest and we'll watch some, and we'll cover a different topic, yeah? And then I'll work on the documentary. Right, before we go, look, I've got some pictures for you to lighten the mood. There's Gizmo. That was the other day. That's my Mo. He's always smiling. He's smiling. He's such a fuzz bag, but because of his long hair, every time he has a drink, he always gets it in the water. And our water's terrible right now, and it's tinged his coat copper. But when I give him filtered water or bottled water, he refuses to drink it. He likes the tap water. He's just a weird little dog. So that's my Gizmo. He's going to be 2 in August. He's my absolute baby. Bell bell. And then we have, and then my George. He's gone off in a mood. He sulks as well. He actually sulks. Puts his head down in between his paws. This is George a couple of weeks ago. We're playing with his with his, well, this isn't his sheep at all. This is Jack's when he was a baby, but he nicked it. There he is with Mr. Sheep. That's what's the sheep called now? Ewan. I'm a helping, guys. I'm a helping. Lighten the mood. What else have we got? Red hasn't been seen for 2 days, but up till 2 days ago, he was here a lot. Hell of a lot. I'll send you another one of George. See, this is making you not think about the nasty stuff. You know what I mean? It's a bit like, before I go to sleep for night time, we'll put an American Dad on or something. I've been watching a horror film. Helps me to sleep. I'm just going to show you this last two. I know we're not on the right channel for that, but, I'm sure you guys want to see these. Is this helping everybody? All right, George. He's now tapping at the door now. George! My George. All right. This is him at the pub. When free speech was up a couple of weeks ago, we went out to the pub. And this was George lying down. He's so good. He sits on laps and everything. How are you, Wendy? Are you on Facebook or anything? I'll contact you. Do you make stuff? I love handmade stuff. So there he is. Look at his face. It's hilarious. He's got the funniest faces, haven't you, Georgie? Talking about you. My George. And just little nose, little lippies. Oh, he's so cute. But he knows he's cute. And then the last one, I just want to show you this. He does look at the camera. That one he wasn't, because he was watching someone go to the bar. Yeah, we went out for it was Al's birthday, so we went for a beer at one of the local bars. And where I live, they all have dogs. Like, even free speech says, I can't believe it, how everybody's got dogs where you are, and everyone just walks around with the dogs in the bar. But this was the other day, right? You're not going to believe this, but this is George. This is George's paw prints. He was lying on the bed with his paws crossed. There you go. That is George's paws. He lies there looking very posh. It's not like a dog. I love horror films. If I'm watching something a bit disturbing, then I like to do this. And then we've got one more. Hang on. I've got the full one, actually, where you can see him. All right, Georgie, last one, and then we're done, okay? My George. He's so cute. But my gizmo is, I love them both the same. My Mo. There he is, with his paws crossed. So I hope this has helped everyone. There he is lying on the bed. He just randomly crosses his paws. He's like, Mummy. And he comes and lies with me and puts his paws on my foot and all sorts. So yeah, he's growing. He's grown up, any now. Blimey, he's big now. So there you go. He's very regal. They're very posh. No, we don't get foxes here. Don't have foxes round here. They've all been hunted. I live rurally. There's no foxes in where I live. We've got owls and stuff. He's a stud. He's gorgeous, isn't he? Doggy yoga. Business. Anyway, folks, I hope that I've helped to lighten the mood. So the next one then, what we'll do, we will just look at clips of all the McCanns. I've got a lot of clips and just see, and then we will end it there, and I will work on my documentary. And then in the meantime, we will continue something else. All right. I'll put a few options up and you can all vote on what you want the next topic to be. How's that? It could be another true crime, or it could be anything. I'll put some options together. But I do want to know if you guys have got a spooky story. I need to know whether you would come up and tell the story, because I'm not going to do a call-in show if no one's got any spooky stories. Now, the other option is we have a topic and you just come and talk about whatever I'm talking about that day. But we'll sort it. How are Gizmo's hips are really bad, but he's on Zoomy, which is this stuff that helps his lubricate his hips and stuff. So right, okay, I like true crime too, so we'll watch some clips of the McCanns and I'll stop there because it's getting too dark. But you guys, you know the score, I'm sure. Check out the PJ files and the links will all be there when I do my little documentary. All right. Wow, listen to this, right? This is just on the news right now. Government met TV bosses during the pandemic to put the V scene propaganda in soaps. That happened. It was all over EastEnders as well. But, it's madness. But at least we're seeing it now declared. Do you know what I mean? Like, we know it, but they don't admit it, do they? Guys, send me some more Tongue Out Tuesday photos as well. I don't know if I've been through them all now, but I haven't showed it. Send it me again, because I've not got many of them left. I've got some of Gizmo and George as well. I might have an Oski one as well. Oski. Exactly. Wendy, are you one of us? I hope so. You've fitted right in, haven't you? You really have. I'm so glad that Loza recommended you. Loza popped in tonight as well, didn't she? I'm so glad you came over. Jan's not here tonight. I think it's probably a bit late for her. Right, okay. I might start doing Crazy World News. I'm fully not jabbed. I've never had one, ever. We can do some Curious News. Oh, fab. That's brilliant. Yeah, we can do some Curious News. Thank you, lovely Jubbly. I appreciate that. Yeah, okay, we'll do that next then. We'll do some crazy news from around the world. We'll do that next. I'll do that on Sunday, yeah? All right. Right, take care, guys. Lots and lots of love, and I will see you all on the next one. Do a poll. Yeah, okay, I'll do a poll. But I know people do like the Curious News. Thanks, Jane. How you doing, love? I appreciate that, sweetheart. Thank you. Guys, if you want to join the membership, you can. It's on the other channel and this channel. It's totally up to you. Right. Oh, George is here again, scratching. All right, George, I'm coming now. You want Mummy to take you for a wee-wee? Why can't Daddy take you? Because you want Mummy. Okay. Right. Take care, everybody. God bless. Night-night. Bye.